Welcome to episode 37.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and you're listening to Who Did That Voice, where we take an in-depth look at voiceovers.
It's a new year, and if you're like me, you are already thinking about warmer weather and taking that getaway to that tropical or exotic destination. Maybe you plan to travel to Walt Disney World or Universal Studios. No matter what kind of trip you plan, 3D Travel Company is the company for you. Just visit 3dtravelcompany.com and let them know that Trenton sent you from Who Did That Voice. Or you can book on www.whodidthatvoice.co and click the Book Now button. For a limited time, Who Did That Voice listeners can receive a Disney gift card for qualifying Disney and Universal trips booked and traveled by the end of 2017. Book today and travel away.
Welcome to Who Did That Voice, the show where we take an in-depth look at voiceover. And now, here's your host, Trenton Larkin.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. Today's special guest is someone who works behind the scenes to make voiceover a better place. He's a professional booth director, and we're going to learn more about him on today's adventure on Who Did That Voice. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Who Did That Voice. Today on the show we have Everett Oliver joining us. Everett, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
Well, I am definitely excited for you to be joining us here on Who Did That Voice. You know, the very first thing we always like to do, Everett, when we start out is just to get a background on who our special guest is. So who is Everett Oliver, the little boy that grew up into the man that is in the voiceover industry?
Wow. I love how you said little boy. That was great. Well, I started in the animation industry back in 1992 was when I really started. I worked on The Simpsons for about a year, just copying all the actual layouts and designs for the, primetime show.
Yeah.
As time moved on, I worked on a bunch of Saturday morning shows. And that is when I really was homing in on my skills as far as learning everything, working with the artists, working with the directors, and working with the executives and the producers of the shows. Then after I finished the Saturday morning shows, I remember going to my supervisor and say, I was bored. I need to find something else to do because this is just not exciting me anymore. Then she says, I'm going to put you in voiceover casting.
Wow.
And I was like, voiceover casting? I'm like, what's that? I'm so green, I'm not sure what that is. She said, you're going to be working with the actors. I said, oh, okay. That should be fun. Though I was green, I got to work with tons of top casting directors, and I didn't know anything about them. So I got to work with Susan Blue. I got to work with Charlie Adler. I got to work with Jenny McSwain.
Holy cow.
And the list goes on and on. And so I did voiceover casting for about 10 years.
Wow.
For Film Roman, Columbia TriStar, and Disney.
Goodness.
So that gave me a whole perspective of, the voiceover industry, especially working on several shows, animated series. Then I went back into animation production, whereas I worked on King of the Hill for the last 3 seasons. Because it was like, we didn't have a place for me. So I really, like I said, worked with the executives really, and I was an executive assistant. So it really, I basically ran the show with the producer. It was very funny, very funny. So I learned how to, produce, an animated series. Then after that show had ended, I went to a talent agency where I was a booth director and didn't know anything about booth directing. Charlie Adler is my mentor, and Charlie is the one that told me, this is your next step. So I worked at AVO Talent for 5 years, and I got to really home in my skills as a director and working with, I've always wanted to do stuff creatively, and working with the actors and booking them was it brought joy to me.
That's awesome.
Total joy to me.
Wow. I mean, you working with Charlie Adler, that's awesome. I know we had him on the show not too long ago, and he's a treat. He really is.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I learned a lot from, besides Charlie and Jenny and Susan Blue, as far as, directing a series. Lots of work, keeping up the energy level, and really being silly to pull out a performance. And that's what I had to do as a booth director.
Well, you kind of talked about being on and working on some different animated shows kind of in the earlier years, Everett. And I know that you worked on Godzilla, the series, back in 1998 to 2000, and Men in Black, the series from 98 to 2000. And you worked on Atlantis's Milo's Return in 2003, just to name a few of the projects you worked on in animation. What are some of the other projects besides The Simpsons that you worked on as well, Everett?
Jackie Chan.
Oh, wow.
Max Steel. Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers, I love that show.
It's so funny because I'm putting stuff on my wall right now, and I'm trying to go through Heavy Gear.
Oh, wow.
Tripping in the Rift.
Okay. There
was a show called Good Family, The Good Family. It was a primetime animated series. I think that's basically it, but I didn't do a really rough bio myself. Sometimes I forget all these shows.
Well, you've worked on so much,
It was so many shows.
Well, that's fantastic.
But I think it was about 10 plus shows. And it was at one time when I was working in casting, I was doing 5 shows at one time. So try keeping up with the shows. Try, keeping up with the shows. The actors who, needs to be at the actual recording session, contracts. So it was quite a treat.
Wow, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, kind of going back to the booth director stuff, what does a booth director do more specifically?
Well, for me, it's about connecting with the actor and pulling a performance out.
Okay.
We as booth directors give a little bit amount of time, and the actors are supposed to be prepared. They receive their copy from their agent, and usually we have a casting list, and we go ahead and direct the actors to best of our ability. Usually the actor will go ahead and give us our first pass, and then we basically tweak the performance, depending on if we say, that's great. So that's what basically a booth director does. But for me, I knew it was their bread and butter.
Yeah.
So I had to pull some tricks out of my hat because I knew that this job was so important to my actors.
Absolutely. And you actually travel and teach around the country, don't you?
I do. I'm a booth director and I'm also a coach. So I just went to Dallas and taught a workshop in Dallas for a couple of days. I was actually in New York and in New Jersey directing actors over Zoom and Skype for a couple of weeks. And then I traveled to Denver and I did a meetup in Denver. So I'm hoping to do more traveling and connect with actors. And my biggest thing to the voiceover community is to inform them. I'm a great believer in giving back. I want to inform the actors on anything that they want to know.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I also want to direct actors on their auditions as well to bring the best performance out of them. So that's my goal, and that's my thing now, I should say.
Absolutely. So that's kind of, out of all the skill sets you've acquired, that's the most important one to you now.
Right.
Okay,
right.
Fantastic. And why would you say that is, that you enjoy teaching so much and just putting yourself out there to help others learn and grow?
I don't know. It was something that just came natural to me. I was shy as a kid, but when I got up and I started teaching and I saw the actors' eyes sparkle,
mm-hmm.
It's really rewarding to find a performer who they're an adult, but they can sound 12 years old and they think in their minds that they can't.
Yeah.
And that I don't know, it was just something that just hit the spirit and it brings out. So when I teach, I always find here and there a couple of actors and I'll go, that's a breakthrough. I could look at them. That's a breakthrough. You got your breakthrough.
Yeah. Well, Everett, out of all the different projects that you've gotten to work on, like the shows that you were a part of, was there one that was more your favorite than another?
I'm going to say Men in Black.
And why that one?
Pat Fraley and Pat Penny were hysterical on that show. They played off each other so well. That's the one that really, really sticks out for me.
Okay.
Comedy wise, really good show. Really, really, really good show. They all were good.
Yeah.
But that's one that really, really come home. And the sad fact is, I have some cells looking at me.
Oh, wow.
And it happens to be Men in Black right in front of me.
Well, that show was fantastic. I loved watching Men in Black. I thought the animation was really good. Amazing, actually. And I don't know, you've just worked on some really stellar projects from my childhood. And I was like, wow, no way.
Well, it was so interesting when I worked at Columbia TriStar. For every movie that came out, we did an animated series.
Wow.
So it was, when Godzilla came out in the movies, it was like, okay, we're going to do 40 episodes of Godzilla.
Yeah.
When Men in Black came out, which was a hit, I think Men in Black went 3 or 4 seasons. So it was like, wow, okay, it's keeping up. I was on the move. I literally was on the move.
Always going.
Always going. And actually today I'm still on the move. People will tell you. They're like, "Where's he rushing to now?" So things don't change. I usually don't change.
Yeah. Well, I remember going to some place. It was like a Chuck E. Cheese, but it wasn't. And they had a laser tag arena, and all of the things that were there in the arena were from the Men in Black cartoon. And these aliens would pop up, and there were different Men in Black figures throughout the area too. And you just had to make sure you didn't shoot the agents, that you only shot the aliens that would come out at you. And it was, I don't remember where it was, but it was so fun. And it was the exact same characters from that show. So
yeah, I actually don't remember as well.
Yeah.
Yes, it was fun. It was very, very fun. I haven't seen much of the actors too since the show has been gone. So actually I ran into Pat Fraley. I run into Pat Fraley all the time.
Really?
So, yeah. So I usually try to keep up with the actors from all my shows, because usually they'll say, I remember Ian Ziering worked on Godzilla with me. And when I was doing casting, I remember him screaming over the phone to his agent, because I was talking to his agent, "Tell Everett to find me a job." It was so funny.
And you said Ian Ziering, right?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
I got the opportunity to really work with a lot of on-camera actors,
okay,
as well as voiceover actors. Jackie Chan, for one.
Oh, wow.
The
No
actual
way.
Jackie Chan. He actually came in and did record it with his entourage. That was great. Christian Campbell, he was the lead on Max Steel.
Okay.
Shy McBride, he was on Max Steel. David DeLuise was on Godzilla. Actually, Dom DeLuise also came in and he did a guest appearance on Godzilla. That was great. It was great to have the both of them.
Wow, you've worked with a lot of stellar people.
I have. I'm very, very, very fortunate. And it's so funny you said that, because I was so young, and quite honestly, this wasn't my forte. I usually say you fall into place for a reason.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let me just go with it. Let me just totally go with it. I watched animation cartoons when I was a kid. Scooby-Doo, the Jetsons, the Flintstones. But I never thought as an adult that I would actually work for them and produce them. You know what I'm saying? And produce them. Oh, my God, and do voiceovers and direct them. Never thought in my life.
Yeah. But it just totally felt like a dream come true that you didn't know you had dreamt.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. So growing up, Everett, what was your favorite cartoon character or series growing up, or did you have several?
There was a show. Well, there was 2 shows. The Super Friends.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to say it was a spinoff of Scooby-Doo. Laugh Olympics. That was the show.
Laugh Olympics. Okay.
That was a competition show. Where they had team with Scooby-Doo. I can't even remember the other 2 teams. And they competed against each other.
Okay.
That's a classic. That show I liked, and I really, let me see, what's the other show? God, you're taking me way back. So now I have to really sit up here and think. I wasn't a Smurf person.
Okay.
The Flintstones, they were good.
Yeah.
Wow, you stumped me on this one. Let me think. Scooby. I'm gonna say Scooby.
Scooby.
Mm-hmm.
And why is it Scooby for you, Everett?
It's kind of like me. Kind of
Uh,
like me. Mm-hmm. I like to have fun. Uh-huh.
I was just gonna say,
Mm.
kind of a fun, warm-hearted, energetic person.
Absolutely. That's totally me. Totally me.
That's awesome. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you definitely seem that way. You know, you have a lot of energy, and you just seem very likable and very easy to get along with. And I'm sure that helps a lot of the actors you work with when you're teaching them and working as a booth director and doing all the different roles you've done in the voiceover industries.
I'm very easygoing, but when it comes to getting the performance out of an actor or my work, I'm like really serious and really focused.
Absolutely.
Because it's not a game. This is their lives.
Yeah.
And so when I'm in the booth, I play with actors just to get them warmed up, to see where they are, where their head is.
Yeah.
But I know what it takes. I literally know what it takes. I know the level of competition that they're going up with because I've worked with tons and tons of actors and tons of casting people. So when I get an actor who's new, I like to know them first. Tell me a little bit about you. Tell me where you're from. Tell me something because I can't pull a performance out of you unless I really know you. And that's how I operate. So when I go and I teach my classes, everybody reads for me. I had one actor, I guess he said he found me on the internet that I was teaching a workshop. When he read for me, I said to him, and I didn't really know too much about him. I asked him a couple of questions. And I said to him, you need to work in video games. That is your forte. And he just said, huh? I said, video games is totally you. I'm telling you, because I don't want to waste your time. 2 months went by, ran into him at a voiceover function, and he came and approached me. He said, I booked my first video game through you. You told me exactly what you said to me about the video game is exactly came true. I said, okay.
That's awesome. That is really cool, Everett.
So I'm an avid believer of let's pursue your dreams because I will not knock your dreams out. But I'm going to tell you, don't waste your time doing this. That's not your genre. This is your genre. And when you perfect in that genre, then we can move on to the second.
And do you feel that you're able to get that read off of people based on getting to know them, or is it getting to know them and kind of just from your background of the industry, knowing what people are going to seek and desire in those vocal talents?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Actually, both. Because there's something about having an actor identify to whatever the character is and transforming them. I had one actress I actually made her cry. It was so weird. And she said, no, you took me back to a place and it's all good. I said, I didn't mean to make you cry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry. So she said, no, it's all good. It's all good. So I love that. I love that. It's just something it does for me and excites me. And then the icing on the cake is when they say I booked it. That's icing on the cake for me. I recently just found out that one of my actresses, they all say we want to work in animation, blah, blah, blah. I directed her from New York and coached her. And she actually got a call back. That for me was, I've done my job. Now go get it. Go do it, It's up to you now. I've done my part. I got you to round one. Make sure your audition doesn't match your callback audition. Because some people go back and read the same thing,
Yeah.
So, but it's totally, totally rewarding for me when actors come and tell me, well, I just wanted to let you know I booked it. I'm like, great.
So Everett, the part where you come in, so I've done my first round of auditions and I've got a call back and then I call you and you kind of coach me, or where do you come in the process?
Well, the agent hands you the copy. You read the copy in front of me. I tweak you and then we just sit and we wait. If you get a call back, you usually go directly to the producers and directors.
Okay.
Okay. But there are some actors who've never had a callback. So I tell them this is the process of what happens during a callback. You go, you'll meet everybody, just make it very casual and move quickly. And don't duplicate what you sent, the audition you sent. You should have received a copy from your agent of your winning audition. Okay.
Okay.
And follow instructions. Some actors won't follow instructions when it comes to a callback.
Because they get nervous, you think, or just what do you think?
They're not thinking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so the winning, what did you call it?
The winning audition.
Yeah, the winning audition.
For the first round. Yeah. Once you go ahead and you get the first round, then they go ahead and go for the callback.
Okay.
I made it up, though. I just made that up as far as the audition. It's just basically you just book the audition. Once you book the audition and they like you, then they bring you in for a callback. But I call it the winning audition.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Yeah, so it's just kind of a terminology you've developed over the years. Okay.
Right. Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, Everett, how can people reach out to you via social media or a website, or what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
People reach out to me through Facebook, myboothdirector.com. People can reach out to me. My email address, EAO, Toon, TOON, voice, I want to say .com. I have so many email addresses, sis.
Oh, I hear you.
And I usually tell people to put in the subject matter where they heard from me. So through the podcast. So at least I know and I go, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. You heard me on Who Did That Voice. Okay.
Absolutely. Right. Exactly. So I'm not all over, since I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
And I try to put as much, word association once I go ahead and say, oh, okay, I remember that person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's EAO Toonvoice at gmail.com.
Okay. Absolutely. And so if people want to go to your website, do you then sometimes have postings for them to look for your classes if people are interested in having you teach them, or?
I'm currently working on it. I mean, usually I will post stuff on Facebook.
Okay.
Or I would also post it on Twitter.
Okay, great. Well, social media is a huge thing nowadays, and I know I've definitely gotten into it more than I ever have before, so.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm just really getting into Instagram.
Okay.
So I forgot that I had the account. I just never really turned it on, and now it's like, oh my God, I got to keep up with all of the social media, blah, blah, blah. Because since I'm all over, and I run into a lot of people, oh, I saw you on VO Buzz Weekly. Oh, I saw you here. I saw you there. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm constantly, what are you doing now? So
yeah,
my goal is into 2017 to really, really keep up and do some more traveling, meeting voiceover actors in person and teaching them. I want to be different from the other voiceover coaches. So you will see me at a city near you.
Absolutely. Well, that is fantastic, and we'll definitely look for it.
Exactly. And, anytime you need help with an audition, just, reach out and contact me. Because like I said, I'm always available and I'm always around. The way my method is I usually tell the actor to send me their first pass and the copy.
Okay.
So at least I know where you're going with the audition.
And the first pass would be their first recording of the audition?
Absolutely.
Okay. That way people understand the terminology you're using, because I know some of it's new to me and some of it will definitely be new to the listeners. So just make sure they know what's going on. Well, Everett, I really appreciate you being on the show today, man. I have one final question for you today before we let you go. And that question is, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
The legacy I want to leave behind is giving back to the voiceover community. I feel like me as a spiritual person, that this is my way of giving back by connecting with the voiceover actors. Any questions or anything that they want or need to know, I want to inform them. I want to be able to tell them about the experiences that I've had, because I believe that I am the only coach that has worked in 3 areas, and that is the animation production, the voiceover casting, and worked as I call it talent management, working at a talent agency. And I'm not an actor.
Oh, really? Okay.
No. Everybody thinks that. Everybody just like, oh, you're an actor. And I go, no, I am not an actor. No, maybe an actor for reality TV. But no, I am not an actor. But I know enough information to get you to where you need to be.
Yeah, because you've worked with the industry professionals, so you know it.
Hmm. So that's my legacy, is to really, really, and if, passing on, that's going to be, he gave back to the voiceover community, because we're a really small community, but we're not like the other mediums like film and TV, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're very, very friendly to each other. If the role doesn't fit for us, we would say, oh, give it to Trent.
Yeah.
Give it to somebody else. Actors are always saying, nope, this is not for me, but I know somebody who can do this.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's pretty much it. That's a great question.
Well, I appreciate it. I think your legacy that you want to leave behind is fantastic, because when we give back to people, I feel like there's no greater thing in the world than to get the joy from just being able to give to people, whatever that is we're giving, our talents, our time, our voices, whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah, we like I said, that's just always been a part of me, to give back. So, this is a perfect platform, what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
It's long being away from home, but just to go ahead and to meet people in person, it's fun for me. It's very, very, and it just excites me, because I could see everybody's like, ooh, they got lots of juicy questions. We want to know, and I'm a giver, so I will basically tell you anything that you need, anything that you want to know. I will share it with you, because I have nothing to hide.
Absolutely. Well, that is fantastic, Everett. I am glad that you were such a giving person, and it's very obvious by just your tone and your voice. It's evident. So
thank you so much.
Hey, you're very welcome. Well, Everett, it has been an absolute honor and pleasure to have you on the show today. Would you please just give us a closeout?
Hey, this is Everett Oliver on Who Did That Voice?
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's interview with Everett Oliver. And if you did, please stop on by our webpage at www.whodidthatvoice.co. A big special thank you to all of our listeners for making our show so special as we start off the new year in 2017. I hope you're having a great year. I know I sure am. Catch you next time. Well, everyone, that's all the time we have for this episode. Join us this Friday for our next special guest, Pat Fraley, the voice of Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Batmite from Batman the Animated Series, and Wildcat from Tailspin, just to name a few. You won't want to miss this episode. Hey, do you ask yourself who did that voice? Well, if you do, go to our website, www.whodidthatvoice.co, and click on the Episodes tab. Choose an actor, pick their name, and see pictures from the different characters they've voiced in their career.
Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time for more discoveries on Who Did That Voice.